All right, time for some consumer news now this afternoon. Earlier, we were talking about the stock market's very failed effort today at rebounding after days and days of tremendous losses last week, and how concerns about the Trump tariffs are making investors nervous still. But when your account drops, if you have an IRA or a 401k, something like that, and you feel like you're kind of going out of control, it can be really hard to know what to do next. Emotions definitely start to get involved here. Here to help calm some of the chaos and maybe offer some practical money tips that make you feel a little bit better is money and business expert Derrick Kinney. Derrick, I've been waiting to talk to you about this because we've had some really rough days in the stock market, and I am accustomed to some risk in there, and I think we all have a different risk tolerance, but this has really tested a lot of people. As we get started here, can you just explain right off the top how these new tariffs, are having such an immediate effect on the stock market? Why is that happening?
Well, first of all, Jason, good to see you, but it's unprecedented. Oftentimes we'll see expected issues in the economy. For example, if the Fed decides to raise interest rates, we know that's like putting a brake on the economy. Things will slow down. If companies say earnings numbers are off, we expect that company's stock to drop. This case here, this is the first time we've ever had this entire economic deck reshuffled in over a decade. So basically, most people living have never ever experienced this because simply they don't know what to do. And one thing we do know, Jason, the stock market does not like uncertainty. Even the brightest minds on Wall Street in New York and all around the world, they simply don't know what's going to happen next. And that's driving them and the average consumer batty right now.
Yeah, I've heard from quite a few people who are feeling very batty these days. So for investors who are trying to keep up with all of this, and they are checking in, they are looking at those numbers and watching their accounts drop right now, what do you advise here, Derrick? What's the smartest thing that you would tell people is to do right now?
Yeah, let me be a voice of reason, but also a realist and say, look, we may see the market fall further. So prepare yourself mentally for that. And what I would consider doing is not, if you're the person that looks at the account statement every day, look at it every other day. If you look at it every hour, look at it every maybe 2 or 3 hours. The goal is to extend the pain that you inflict on yourself by looking at what's happening here. Because listen, we all want control, and right now the world feels like it's out of control. And people who've worked hard all their lives worry now, do I have enough money to retire? Should I take it out? What I would tell people right now is, look, unless you absolutely have to have money out, we're so far into this, it's best to ride it out. And now that may mean it goes down further, but when things do get resolved at some point, wherever that looks like, we typically see a sharp increase back up if cooler heads prevail. So I would just say be calm and cool as best you can right now.
Yeah, I've wondered a lot about that, Derrick, just because these are some kind of unprecedented things that are happening that you think, well, hopefully it matches what the charts have shown. I mean, we've talked about this over time, where over and over again, the worst drops in the stock market are usually followed in pretty quick succession by the biggest swings upward. So if you pulled your money out when everything dropped out, you miss that big swing upward, and so you miss this huge chance to sort of recover in there. So, this all, of course, varies by age. We always hear ride it out, but for someone who's retiring soon or feeling really anxious about this, what do you say that they do here to sort of feel like they're in more control?
Well, the term ride it out or hold on can kind of fall on deaf ears sometimes. And here's why I think the next 24 hours are critical. Right now, Jason, the U.S. and China are playing a game of adult chicken, and they're driving two cars at each other really fast and seeing who's going to blink. And right now, nobody knows. At midnight, Trump has put a huge new tariff on China. We'll have to see how quickly they respond or what they do. Ultimately, China is the top of the pyramid of all these tariffs. All the other countries really don't matter as much as China does. So if they were to blink or come to an agreement, we'll likely then see the market go up dramatically in the next couple days. But that's a huge if right now. So if you're having trouble sleeping, worried, anxious, it's even affecting your relationships, even though it may not make sense long term. Short term, you may want to take some money off the table, take some risk out of it, just so that you have less money being lost in the short term.
Okay, smart advice there. Finally, what would you say, Derrick, is the biggest money mistake that people make during times like these that are especially, wild and crazy in the stock market? And how do we avoid making that big mistake?
Well, social media is really not your friend right now because when you scroll, it makes it look like you're the one missing out on all these hot stock tips and people are buying in and selling out and making all this money. It typically doesn't work like that. What I would suggest people do, and the biggest mistake they make is to make a knee-jerk reaction to say, I just need to sell everything out or I need to buy now. I don't think now is even a good buying opportunity, candidly, because the market may go down further. So I think right now waiting is the best long-term strategy. As painful as that is, just don't make any rash decisions right now.
Okay, these are crazy times that we are living through, but Derrick Kinney giving us some advice here and maybe a little bit of calm to calm down some of this chaos. Really appreciate it, Derrick. Thank you.
My pleasure. Jason and Derrick, the money therapy session every Tuesday.
Pull out the couch. It is going to be an hour-long therapy session. Thank you.